What's happening, everybody? We're back. Come on, we're back. We've been busy this week. A lot of stuff to get into. Boy Kemper has signed our first signing of the season. Absolutely buzzing for it. I'm not gonna lie, I am. He looks very, very, very good, honestly, at left back. We need a decent left back. We've been doing it all season, last season. We've been begging for someone to come in. But as one player comes in, obviously players are gonna go. So yeah. But welcome in, everybody. Welcome to the DB show. Obviously every Sunday we do this thing where we do QPR transfer news. Our team, our heart, basically, of London. Obviously there's different content as well, but this is our main thing we do each Sunday. If you like it, if you want to keep this going, the QPR ones on a Sunday, obviously we can do another day as well, but we're still obviously getting into the mood for it. But 7 p.m, if Sunday 7 p.m is okay, put your comments below, honestly, because I'm just trying to figure out what's best for everyone on the live stream, obviously, to come in and have a chat, join into the conversations and stuff like that. So if 7 p.m is good on a Sunday, hit the thumbs up, hit the like button. Right, let's get into who we got in the chat. We got Seed with a W. That was ages ago that I put everyone shared the stream. Cheers, man. Paul, how are you doing? Hey, how are you? I'm good, man. I'm good. Do you know what? I'm looking forward to this season, honestly. I'm looking forward to what's coming in the next couple of weeks. QRI, long time no see, mate. How you been? I've been okay, man. Honestly, I've been okay. Got a trim, as you can tell. No long hair anymore. So hopefully you can see my face better. But we got a lot to get into today. So yeah, so we'll start off with this. Obviously Sandfield has left the club. Obviously, you know, he was at the club he's been at the club for 5 years, 5.5 years. He spent his first season or half a season with us on loan as a 22-year-old, I believe it was. He was an up-and-coming youngster. He was, in my opinion, Sandfield at West Brom, highly rated. And honestly, I generally think, you know, the best of him. You know, you can't talk bad about Sandfield, honestly. You know, Sandfield for me was one of these players that I thought was going to kick it off in the Premier League, like James Ward-Prowse or someone like that. But his love for QPR, I think, kind of stopped him. You know, he did have injuries and going from there. You know, Sandfield's gone now. He's gone to Norwich. He went out on loan last season. Well, in January he did. He weren't getting game time for Julian. I don't think he's a Julian player in the system. You know, he did okay at left back sometimes and all that, but Norwich, Clement, I think it is, seems something in him and wants to keep him there. So they've brought him in with a good price. You know, when we said this, when he left, we all said that he was going to leave. We all knew he was. And I think also the price is good. You know, a lot of people are probably going to whinge about the price. The price to me is really good for him. You know, personally, 1 million, 1.5 is roughly the best price. But to get add-ons and raise to 3 million is great. But the problem is the add-on is Premier League promotion for them. So yeah, I don't know, obviously, the whole contract. All that's been revealed is obviously he signed for Norwich City for 1.5, I think it is, raising to 3. And also, I think it's a 3-year contract plus 1 year added on as well. But for a 28-year-old going to Norwich, we're going to see him next season, or this season coming. Hopefully all the best to him. I haven't got a bad thing to say about him, honestly. You know, I love the respect that he has for the club. I love how he keeps his whole family safe in the sense of the social media aspect. He doesn't go on it, so huge shout outs to him. But yeah, Sandfield has officially left QPR after 5.5 years. Honestly, big ups to him. You know, he's done an incredible job for us, and all the best for him for the future. But as I said, as one player leaves, one player comes in. Boy Kemper has officially signed for QPR. Boy Kemper is a left back who played in the Dutch division. Obviously, he started his young career at Ajax. He did. So very big club to be playing for. I think it was Van der Sar that highly rated him at Ajax, if I'm not mistaken. So to get him on a free, like what Christian Nuri does best, is look for great targets for the club, that are not going to be a hefty price. So for what he's done since Christian Nuri's come in, absolutely buzzing, brilliant. It's an absolute gem of a signing. He wants to be at the club. He looks brilliant. We need a left back. We need someone that works a way that Julian wants, and he seems to be that guy. You know, I've seen clips of him. I can't judge any player till I see the full aspect pre-season going through. You know, Davis did okay for us, absolutely good player for the championship, but there was just something there that was not ticking, you know, for me, for you fans, and Julian. I felt like there was a bit of a letdown there right at the end of the season, especially when the injuries came in and stuff like that. So, look, all the best to Davis, but we've got our left back, our main left back. You know, I don't know what's going on with Lakesh. Obviously, someone did say last week about how he could be on his way out just because of obviously a contract. I'm sure he just signed 1-year extension last season. I'm not too sure what's going on with him. I want him to stay at the club. I still like Lakesh, so yeah, we'll see if we can get any rumours on Lakesh soon. But big ups to boy Campar. Go have a look at him. Honestly, he looks really good. He obviously signed. He actually apparently revealed his contract. Apparently he changed it on Instagram, so he changed the whole thing. He got in trouble for it, I think. So he revealed, I think it was like a 3 or 4 year contract that he signed plus a year extension. So yeah, I don't know what the wage is. It's gonna be pretty not massive, but it shouldn't kill us whatsoever. But yeah, boy Camper looks really good, man. Honestly, I can't wait to see him play. Don't know what number he's gonna be. We got 5 days till fixtures come out, and we also got, I think it's 7 days till we get to see the club training coming back for their fitness tests. I know obviously there's been a few picture images today of the players coming back today, so I'm not too sure if that was just them using the gym facilities, a meeting and stuff like that. Not too sure, but yeah, we'll see what happens. We should have more news on that soon. But yeah, boy Kemper signs, great news. What do you guys think? Personally, you think it's great signing? Are you looking forward to him? What? Let us know. Let's catch up into these comments anyway. Ryan says looking fresh. I know, mate. I know. I had to get it done. Otherwise I was gonna get murked by Robert or someone like that. What's your opinion of the Turkish player? I said I looked at both of them. I looked at both of them. The problem is I can't really judge them because the videos that were posted were 4 years ago, and there's no like recent ones that I've seen. So if you could find a recent video of these two players, I would be happy to say what I think of them. But for what I saw in the 4 years, I don't think they would be good signings for the championship. I'm not too sure. If you could give me some videos or send me some links on them players from recent weeks or recent months, a year, a maximum a year at least, I could be here and sit here and say cool, okay, great signings and all of that. So yeah, but thank you for that comment. Honestly, see, I do appreciate guys tell me what kind of players out there in that I don't really know of. So yeah, think JS just wants a younger player in what QPR Ryan says. 100%. I think it is that he does want a younger player for sure. I think he sees it as, obviously, you know, every club he's been at, Rennes, Strasbourg, we've seen these young players grow up into mature men and become world stars, you know. So whether that can happen at QPR, be brilliant, but it's going to be a while till that happens. So yeah. Paul says, glad we got the left back in now and heard we are looking at a key from Swansea. I'll get into Key in a bit, but yes, that is correct. Key is a target for QPR. It's just rumoured though. It's not any serious links with it at the moment, but he is a right back, I believe. But it's only talks at the moment on rumours. So yeah. Andy says Norrington Davis did a good job for loan, but yes, needed a decent perm left back brought in. Hope that Kemper will be good for us. Look, for what I've seen of him, only on clips, like I said, I'm not going to judge a player till I see him fully. You know, we know Escudina's a good talent. but he needs experience on loan for sure. And obviously there's rumors saying that he's going to go and leave, whether that's permanent or on loan. I'm not too sure, but we'll have more news, I think, in the coming days. We will on that one. But yeah, it's good to see a 27 today, I should say, on Father's Day. He's got his birthday, so happy birthday to Boy Kemper. But yeah, Boy Kemper is a very experienced left back. Obviously he's played in Europe, so we'll see what happens in the season. I guess that's Harvey Elliott. Yo, how are you, mate? Nick says, hi DB, Norton Davis was important as a stopgap and done a job needed to bring experience to our team. Just Hayden was because although we had another signings, we were short on those areas. I feel like, you know what it is, right? I'm looking at last season compared to this season, okay, and with signings. Now, Julian was announced and brought into the club pretty late, let's be honest. You know, the players that I think we brought in the first couple of weeks of him being there, I don't think they were his signings. I think they were just signings that we thought would be best to bring in for the future. And I honestly think some of the signings that we did make were pretty decent. So I think Burrell was a Julian Stefan signing. I honestly believe that. I really do. I think that was a Julian Stefan signing. Kone, at a push, I think that was to do with more the club, not Julian. Obviously other players as well that we brought in. You know, I think this season we're gonna see his signings, if that makes sense. His signings that he wants, kind of thing. Boy Kemper is one of them shouts where I think that Julian obviously was told and saw whatever it was potentially, bring him in, kind of thing. So yeah, obviously the club are gonna have a say on which players that they scout. Obviously I'm not saying Julian's scouting players, but I'm just saying that the club probably throw names at him and be like, look, we found this guy, going from there. But look, I don't hate Davis. I think Davis is a terrific player. I just don't think he suits Julian's style of play. Hayden as well. He did an okay job when he did play sometimes, but for bringing him in for just a year, I feel like it said a lot in the sense of, I think it was just a panic buy. You know, we couldn't bring in anyone else at the time. It was very late. So, yeah, I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure on that one. So, yeah. Paul says, and heard the young left back from Brazil might be on his way out, but hope it will be only a loan, Paul says. Yeah, look, with obviously him coming in, Boy Kemper, there's questions on lips for Esquidina, there is. So, for me, Esquidina is a young talent. He's very good, but he's not championship material just yet. But I honestly believe if we send him out on loan, he needs experience. League 1, League 2, something like that. I did post something the other day about, obviously, the development side of what players we have released. Go check it out. It's somewhere on the shorts feed, I think it is. Basically, they did release Alfie Tark, some great youngsters, I thought, but the only reason why I think we released them is because they're not developing as what we want them to do. But that's also because of where we're sending them, I think. So yeah, if we can send Esquidina to a club that he can potentially make a name for himself and show attraction from other clubs, then I think it'll be fine, you know, for him. So yeah, but I don't want to see him leave. If he leaves, I wouldn't be surprised on the permanent as well, to be honest. So yeah, Kemper looks the part, Ryan says, like the things he's been saying also. I think he brings physicality, leadership, and a lot of more mental attributes than physical attributes. You know, he's a very good player, but we need hard workers, and I feel like he can do that with people around him. And I also feel like with the players that he has in there already, they can help the young squad as well. So yeah. But you gotta remember, Julian did say he wanted experience, and he meant experience in the sense of a certain way. So whether this is him saying experience, it kind of makes sense. So yeah. Nick says, now we have a left back that fits our team going forward. Well, I think left back sorted. If we bring in another left back, it's only because of, obviously, I would say Ziyad Lakash. pretty much leaving or something like that. I'm not too sure. But I think main sights right now is the right back, maybe a centre back, depending on what's going on. A number 8 will be great. And if a striker goes, a striker goes. But we best get a good price at him. So yeah. In fact, I've just messed up something. Give me a second. Let me just post that. I totally forgot about posting something on Twitter, X, whatever you want to bloody call it. Everyone's having a good conversation there with Ryan. Ryan says, could you see any attacking signings this summer? If so, what position? So with signings with attack, I don't think we need any. I think if we sell, we'll bring in for sure on attack, 100%. I think we got a good attack, personally. I would say if we're looking at bringing in any ability, I think a number 10 is all we need right now. Because I'm very concerned about Chair, Poku. I'm very concerned about Burrell again. Because these 3 players mainly got injured last season. Madsen had a hamstring injury at the end, so I'm a bit concerned about that as well. So 4 players there that I'm more worried about going forward into next season. So attack wise, I don't know what's going to happen. So yeah, but I've obviously put out on Twitter certain things. So yeah, pretty much. Nick says, only need a right back, keeper, especially 2 additional midfielders, as I'm sad to see Field go, but I totally understand why. Yeah, look, I don't like seeing decent players leave the club, but Field deserves first team, and I'll sit here and proudly say that. You know, he's a great asset to the club. He has been. He's been so loyal to us, but he wants first team, and if he needs to go, he needs to go. And you know, I've always said this. Why are we keeping high wages on a bench? It makes no sense. So for me, if you're putting high wages on a bench, we should be selling them if they're not going to get any first team. So Samfield, for me, it's a good move for him. It's a good move for us. And it just makes sense. But it's very sad, obviously, to see him go. But it's football. This is what happens. The only way you're going to improve is by making the squad fit the way that the manager and the head coach wants to. So yeah. Would love to see Seo get back to his usual self. Hopefully he has a great season. You got to remember, Seo came in late at the QPR. I know he was on loan with us last season, but he did come in late. You know, he scored on his debut, and that was pretty much all we saw from him. But I personally think if he has a good preseason with the club, gets into fitness, bit of physicality, I think we'll see a great Sato next season, or this season, I should say. But yeah, that's what I'm more concerned about. So yeah, don't know about you, DB, but I think midfield is 100%. Look, we need a keeper for sure. We need a keeper, which we'll get into this all later on. We will in a bit. We got time. Keeper and midfielder is obviously our main targets right now, and a right back. That's all I'm saying on that. But on other news, what I would say is this. So obviously, Boy Kemper signed, Samfield's gone. I wanted to talk about this for a little while because my important thing right now is Julian's team. So there was words of Steve Bold could be leaving QPR on Twitter. There is, I can't remember who the team was, but someone wants to bring Steve Bold into the club as a coaching staff or assistant manager. I can't remember who it was. But if Steve Bold goes, I don't think I'll be too fussed about it. My main thing right now is who's going to be Julian's assistant. You know, we got Kevin Betsy there, who shows great ambition, but he seems to be a unique talent just because of what he does with the players and the young talent and the targets that he gives, with what we've been explained by Jimmy Dunn last season in one of the interviews that he did. But whether we give it to Kevin Betsy, I think we need to get this assistant in as soon as possible that can work with Julian. You know, I don't have any targets. There's no really conversation on it. But yeah, whatever happens, we need to sort that out quickly because Julian needs someone that he can work with. And I don't know why Diarra left. Obviously, he did say head coach roles, but I don't think he's been recruited by any head coach at the moment. So it kind of is like, was there something working? Wasn't it working? Was it just for like a Yaya Toure effect kind of thing? Was he just learning under Julian or something like that? I'm not too sure. So yeah, But that was one thing that I wanted to talk about. Let me know what your comments on the assistant thing about what you want to see, and everything like that. Apart from that, let's talk about transfer targets at the moment, because obviously that's the main important thing. We're in the summer. We need to know more. So I had a look at some of the stuff that we're interested in. So obviously the keeper wise, we haven't really been linked with any keepers for a couple of weeks, apart from Sam Tickle and the Croatian guy. That's gone dead quiet now. Now the main thing that's been going on is a centre mid, a Mali centre mid, who plays in the Spanish division for Diaz or something like that. But personally, I would say that this guy looks good. This centre mid does look good, and I'm not gonna lie to you guys. This centre mid, the only thing I would say is he gonna cope in a championship, just because the way I watch him play is very slow. He's a very slow paced player that takes his time, and he reminds me of someone like, oh, what's his name? I can't remember his name, but he looks like a good player. He has a great shot in him. He scores a lot of long shots. He can pick out players really well. Defensively, he's very good as well. So this guy, Diarra, is it Diarra? I think it's Diarra. Let me have a look quickly. QPR. Let me have a look. Let me have a look on Twitter. It's on Twitter. Yeah, here it goes. Right. So it's a Mali midfielder named Musa Diakite. That was it, Diakite. So we obviously had a Diakite before we have in Samba Diakite, who Mark Hughes brought in from France. And this guy obviously seems to be really good. So check him out. Go check him out. Honestly, I looked him on YouTube for a bit. But this Musa Diakite does look really good. I'm not going to lie to you guys. He is a player that, like I said, is very patient, but he looks like a lot like a tactician, where he looks up a lot, but he knows where players are, kind of thing, which is really, really good. But I don't see him as any other than a number 5 in midfield, if that makes sense. A number 5, number 14 type of player. You know, he seems very talented, very good, very young, at 22, I believe it is. And yeah, I would sit here and say that, yeah, if we go in for him, it'd be very interesting. So I would say go have a look at him. I don't know what his wages are, with what Nick's just said. But yeah, I think he seems like a decent midfielder to attract interest in him. Other targets, there was obviously someone said on, I saw it, it's been linked for a week now. I'm just gonna check on here because someone did say his name. I just can't remember the bloody name of the player. What was the right back from Swansea? Does anyone know what the hell's his name? Someone put it on here. Who put it on here? Someone put it on here. I can't see the chat. Could someone let me know who the right back is that we're linked with Swansea, please? Kelly, that's it. Is it Kelly? I think it's Kelly. Is it Kelly? Please let me know in comments. Is it Kelly? Josh Key. All right, cool. So yeah, Josh Key, I don't know much about him, but it might be a good signing just because of championship experience. Championship experience is key, in my opinion. You know, is he a free agent? I think he is. So yeah, I think if we do bring him in, Josh Key might potentially be a good signing for us. But I still think Terry Devlin, for me, is the biggest thing that we need right now. If we're going for right backs, Terry Devlin is someone that I want to see in that club, and growing. You know, this guy, this kid, he looks really good in the championship. He's done really well against us in when he was at Portsmouth last season. So if my top target right now for right back is Devlin, and that is it. That's all I would say. And I'm going to push this like we did with Ronnie Edwards, because I have a feeling if we push it, and if all of you go on Twitter, everything like that, and push it as well, I reckon we could get it sorted. I honestly believe we can. I think Terry Devlin could potentially be an interest that we could bring in. But yeah, apart from that, that's the only transfer news that I know of that we're interested in right now. I can't think of anyone else unless there's any interest in someone else. It's just that at the moment. Obviously, we're going to be going into it a lot more next week when obviously we get more this news this week. 100% we'll get more. Obviously, we got the new fixtures coming out on 26th, which is on Friday. So that'll be interesting to talk about who we're going to get and everything like that. So yeah, we'll get into that. Let me have a look at the comments as well again, because there's been a lot of comments coming through today, a lot of comments. So I think 7 p.m. might be a good shot. Jesus Christ! And stop doing that. You know I'm live. Stop. Oh, you dropped the key. Oh. Yeah, 7 p.m. looks like it's very interesting to do this on a Sunday. We look like we're more engaged with it, if that makes sense. So yeah, let me just look at the comments, because we're getting loads of comments, man, honestly. Where did we leave off? So I think we left it off here. I'm not too sure. Yeah, so yeah, what I was saying, I'll read the comment. Don't know about you, DB, but I think midfield is priority closely with keeper. I think, yes, look, keeper wise, we definitely need to bring in a keeper in quickly, for sure, 110%. I also think midfield 100% as well. You know, I put on Twitter 2 targets that I would love to see at QPR. Jordan James from Rennes, but wages might be a big thing on there. If we could get him on loan, if Christian Nuri likes that option, 100%. And the other one was Dan Neil. You know, Dan Neil did well for Sunderland, getting them promoted. He done well with Ipswich being out on loan to them last season. I just think it'll be a good midfield combination in Neil and Madsen or whatever it is, you know. It'll be very interesting to see that, you know, as a midfield. So to me, right now, those 2 midfielders are targets to me that I would love to see QPR go for, because they're both done well in the Championship, you know. So yeah. Paul says, I just hope Chair can stay fit this season. Think he's a big player for us this season. Listen, I said it last season, a lot of people disagreed with me, and I proved them wrong. For example, when we played Swansea, when he came back, we was missing that creativity in midfield for Kone. Kone seems to score more goals when Chair is on the pitch, if that makes sense. I think Chair is just so creative for our team, and I don't think people understand how important Chair is when it comes down to passing and obviously creativity. I wouldn't say he's a playmaker just yet, because I always don't think he's a number 10, but his creative side is really good. So to me, his creative side reminds me a little bit of Hogan Ephraim, where he could put the ball into a good place in midfield and look up and see players. So to me, we missed that last season with Chair with all of his injuries, I think. So this season, if we do able to keep Chair, I would sit here and say I hope he'll be a main threat for us next season if he can stay fit, if he stays at the club. So yeah. Ryan says a ball playing midfielder would be ideal. Too much of last season was our midfield playing it backwards. 100% when you're playing Varane, I think the problem is with Varane is that he's more of a defensive midfielder. But when it comes down to box, Madsen's the only one, really. We lacked midfield last season when we let Sandfield go. We got Kieran Morgan, but I think Kieran Morgan paid more attention to the end of the season, where he did really much better at the end of the season. But I think Kieran Morgan might have a breakthrough season, or he might need a loan spell, in my opinion, to get some experience under his belt. So yeah, I look forward to seeing Kieran Morgan doing well at QPR. I think he's brilliant. He's still young. Obviously, we saw Collie over the summer. He got promoted into the first team. So we'll be seeing a lot more of Collie in the first team this season coming, if he stays, if we're able to keep hold of him. But far as I'm aware, on midfield wise, I think we just need that oomph to push us more forward than back. Because when I've seen us attack, we can attack 100%. It's the best attack I've seen for at least four seasons, at least. So yeah. And he says Bristol City for Steve Bold, apparently. That was it, yeah. So Bristol City, their new the new recruitment there, they wanted Steve Bold, I think, but nothing has come through just yet. So that's gone pretty quiet, but there was an article on Twitter about it, so yeah. Paul says, yeah, he happy if Steve Bold goes. Think our defending has been worse under him. See, the problem is, I don't know if it's him or if it's Julian or what. I don't know. We'll see something. Hopefully we'll see something different this season coming, but it needs to improve. Defense is 100% a priority in going forward. You know, we lack defensive ability. You know, we moved Jimmy from the right to the middle, which was pretty decent in my opinion. For height wise, we needed that. I feel like next season we need to really focus on set pieces as well. Set pieces are the main thing for the championship in my opinion, you know, because look, we need goals, and if we can't score them in a certain way, we need to create ways to do that. So whether we become the Arsenal of the championship next season or what, you know, French managers seem to do the job in my opinion. So yeah. If Steve Bold leaves, do you think Steve Cook will take his place? It depends. The scenario has been quiet. You know, they have said that they've offered him the role of being a coach at QPR, but he's not retired. He isn't. He still wants to play football, whether that's going to be lower leagues or what. But at this moment in time, I don't know what he's doing, you know, unless there's news of Steve Cook actually becoming a coach at QPR, then fair dues. But far as I'm aware, it's, you know, right now we need to focus with what we got right now. So yeah. But if Steve Bold leaves, if Steve Cook comes in, I would have a problem with it unless I see some of the stuff like I saw last season. So yeah. Paul says, I think that will be good for us, Nick, if that does happen with Steve Cook. Would have more faith in Cook and probably lower the wages. See, I don't know what the wage. I know he was on 20 grand, but I don't know if you're going to give him 20 grand as a coach, you know. I don't think any coach earns that much in the championship, personally. So yeah. Would like us to go for championship experience this season for certain positions. I agree. Look, the thing is this, right? Ryan, you need to understand this. With transfers and signings, it all becomes on the part of wages, money, and stuff like that. Now, majority of the championship, the wage goes up and up each season. So the reason why we go abroad to look at signings and bringing in people is majority because it's cheaper. Let's be honest, it's cheaper to go abroad to buy a player now than to get an egotistic guy in our blimmin' league that wants 50 grand a week and is happy to sit on the bench, kind of thing. So look, in my opinion, experience does matter in this league. And obviously we have to look at key areas for that though. The correct player needs to come in to help the team, for example. So yeah. Oh, hang on. There we go. Paul says, yeah, I agree, but depends if Cook feel like he got another season in him. I think Cook's done with, I'll be honest. I think Cook's left already. So yeah, I don't know what Cook's doing. So yeah, Josh Key. I think his wages was the biggest issue, not his age. Yeah. So the thing with Steve Cook, obviously, we've said this a lot. So when you start giving the whole deal with contracts at QPR, if you're 30 and above, 28 above, you're not getting a long-term contract. You're just getting a short-term contract. So whether that's 1 year extension or whatever to see how you do, it depending on what our regime is on the contract scenario. But he was on a high wage. I believe he was on 20 to 25, maybe 30 at push. So to get that gone and that wage disappeared, it brings us more wage and helps us. So we released pretty much, I would say, our highest spenders in wage in Nardi, Cook, and Hayden. We also released some youngsters as well. So I wouldn't be surprised if some of the development side come in as well. But personally, I would sit here and say right now, if I had to go with you know, we have to look at the market very carefully. You know, free transfers, whatever. You know, we have money at the end of the day to spend, I think, because we're bringing in good sponsors that can give us money, an attraction. So yeah, that's a decent one. But yeah, we'll see what happens with that. 30k a week. He was on about 30k, 100%. Paul and Ryan. Nick says, yeah, wage is key for every signing now, as more signings are needed. Paul says, yeah, I think 30k a week is too high for us. So for what I'll say like this, right, and I've said it before, I explained it before. Now, when Les Ferdinand was our CEO or sporting director, whatever you want to call him, his rule was this: only bring in players 10 grand highest wage. That was it. Since Nuri's come in, wage has gone up to maximum 20 grand, I think it is 20 grand. But he does put in a lot of bonuses, I think, in contracts and extension clauses. So yeah, I would sit here and say our wages improved under Nuri, but that's because of sponsorships and obviously what we're bringing into the club as well. So personally, I would sit here and say it's positive, but you can see it as a negative as well, because you know, sometimes you need to spend some wage on big players. You do, if that makes sense. Yeah. Ryan says, will you be streaming all the games again this season? Probably a stupid question. It's not a stupid question, but 100% we will be streaming. Yes, we'll be live. We'll be live as long as they allow it. You know, QPR might shut it down. I don't know what their regime is, because technically it's 3 p.m. kickoff. You're not meant to watch 3 p.m. kickoffs in this country, but because of VPNs that we are allowed to use, you can literally change your your region, and basically if you're a member at QPR on the site, you can literally just change your VPN, change it to an area where you can watch it, and obviously you'll be able to watch it. So yeah. But right now, if it still works, you know, other people do it. So look, if it still works, we'll be live, whatever happens. And if any issues happen, you will be the first to know. So yeah. Nick says, watch a clip of Cristiano on YouTube regarding CEO of QPR. Interesting to hear him talk about time at QPR from beginning to finish, saying that QPR are going to the right way. And listen, look, he said this, right? So he said the thing that worried me the most when obviously Julian came in, at the half of the end of the season in January, he had an interview, and he was very, I don't know, very cautious about with what he said. So at the start of not last season but 2 seasons ago, we had this 5-year project again, like we did under Bernie Ecclestone and Briatore. So he had this 5-year project. Then Marty Fuentes obviously left, and he brought in Julian, and I felt like it was to be rushed, this 5-year project. Then in January, he said we're just here for the long run. Now we have to be patient, and we have to wait and see. So my term is this: is he confident in where we're going to be real soon, or in a further way? Listen, look, if we get promoted, we get promoted, but the aim is to get promoted and stay up. That is the aim. You know, we can't have a weak squad and go up and then spend big, go down. I don't want to be a yo-yo club like Burnley, Norwich, all these clubs that are unable to bring the talent in. You know, in my opinion, Vincent Company tried it with Burnley. Did it work? I don't think it did, personally. You know, Vincent Company knows his players, but the problem is it's hard when you can't spend that much money. So yeah. But yeah, we'll see what happens. So yeah. QRN says, where can you see us finishing? Damn. I'm not going to be honest about it yet, but I hope to see us finish top 10 next season. Top 10, playoffs is 8. Remember, 3 to 8 is playoffs. So yeah, I think maybe 2 or 3 years, as if it was next year, we would not be ready. He said we are not ready now. Listen, look, we're not even ready. Look, I've said this many times. I said in the video, I said the fact is this: as QPR fans, we kind of got to understand we're not a great club. We're not a great club. You know, we're on strategy, we're on a great regime to be a great club yet again, but right now we're just still building to be a great club. You know, we need to throw things out the window like new stadiums and stuff like that. Our main regime right now, it needs to be, where's this club going? Where's the what the fans want, and what are we bringing in to build this club to be a top Premier League club and to stay in there? That's the aim right now. If we're gonna keep going on about sackings and stadiums and stuff like that, I'll be honest with you, we're rushing into things. You know, I don't believe in the stadium at the moment. If we can't fill out an 18,000, how are we gonna fill out a 40,000? That's just my opinion on that one. So yeah, it's just mental how Tony Fernandez's aim was to build this amazing club, and bringing in these crazy players would just, in my opinion, ruin the club. You know, Joey Barton, for example, great player, but attitude-wise, he scared players, man, in the club. He really did. Look at Adel Taarabt. Adel Taarabt was shitting himself, and did generally report it as well. So, pretty crazy. It is. So yeah. It's pretty crazy. I'm going to go on Twitter actually. Hoops has just set up a TikTok. Pretty good, pretty decent. The Hoopser, not bad, not bad. Pretty good. Go give him a shout, I guess. Go give him a shout. What we got? We have the foundation, but once settled, we need time to play together. Then we can be great. Look, it's a marathon, not a sprint. At the end of the day, you know. Look, whatever happens, I'll always support QPR. At the end of the day, that's my main thing. I'll always support QPR. I'm not going to go anywhere else. I'm not a glory hunter. I just care about seeing my club do well. I've been there in the areas of the worst. I've seen us, I wouldn't say I've seen us in the worst areas, because, look, anyone that remembers before Bernie and Briatore was in charge and brought the club, that was a shocker before that. So yeah, my opinion is this. I trust Christian Nuri in the project he's doing. I want him to stay. I said it on Twitter the other day, someone needs to put a buyout clause on him, because I got a funny feeling one team is going to go in for him. A team will go in for him. To bring him into the club, because he does great business. He's a great CEO, and he's very you know, he knows his financial side of football. He does. He's a great person, you know. And if he does sack a manager, I'll be honest with you, I know everyone was very pissed about Marty Fuentes leaving and Christian Nuri, obviously, with whatever happened, and would rather Christian Nuri leave. But listen, you got to kind of back what the club are doing. You know, the ownership have backed him, and that's why they brought him in, and it's done an incredible job. It's probably saving money as well. So yeah, but as far as I can say right now, Christian Nuri, yeah, I think he's just brilliant. Honestly, you know, he's done great to this club already. He's shown what he's able to do. And I'm just generally looking forward to every summer, every flipping transfer window that we go into. I know January was a bit of a letdown. Obviously, we only brought in Ronnie Edwards. I'm not saying he was a letdown. But listen, I'm looking forward to more this season. You know, I think this is going to be proving whether Julian is to stay or to go. You know, Julian, to me, great head coach. But I always say, give him till the end of October, see where we are. As long as we're in the top 10, I'm happy. You know, I'm happy. You know, we're not a great club. If we can get into the top 10, even better. You know, top 8 is targets right now because of playoffs. But personally, in my opinion, you know, I think we need to work on what we do in next season in strategy, playing performance, and what players are going to get promoted. So obviously, Jalen Pearman, Daniel Benny, all these guys that have been getting first team football, where are they going to be next season? It'd be great to see them getting more chances. Emerson Sutton, for example, is he going to be a Julian player? You know, we got great foundations in the youth academy, but it's down to whether we're going to be using them in a correct way. So I know he wants experience, and I think that's important, but obviously he's still learning in the championship. You know, he really is. So yeah. Apart from that, I think that's pretty much it, really. that is pretty much it on everything that we've covered. I'm actually just looking on Twitter to see if there's any rumors that we can see. I can't really see anything much on anything to do with signings or rumors or interest, but I think the main thing right now is we've spoken about targets, we've spoken about obviously new signing Sam Field. We've catched up with you guys, which is the most important thing in my opinion, because you make this channel. You know, I'm just here doing the mic stuff personally. But listen, at the end of the day, we got an exciting summer to come, and yeah, stay tuned. I would say, you know, as you can see, we've revamped the whole thing. We've changed stuff to do with the channel. We're not going to just see QPR stuff. We're going to see some other stuff as well. So, you know, it might not be your interest, but honestly, we're going to try and do something great here. So yeah. Any questions before we leave? Any questions before? Because we've had a great run today. 46 minutes, man. I would say that's pretty decent, man. Honestly, that's pretty decent. You know, we're getting a lot of rumors coming in, a lot of talk going on, and a lot of things gonna happen next season. So yeah, great chat, DB. Thanks again. See you soon, Nick says. Thank you for tuning in, Nick. And do you know what? I'm gonna give some shouts. So C, Paul, QPR, Ryan. I should just say Ryan, to be honest. Who we got else in here? Andy, as always. Harvey. Everyone knows Harvey. Nick, Paul. I think we said Paul already. Who else is there? Can't really see. I think that's it. Yeah, I think that's it. Look, Foley probably is going to be tuning in after work later on, probably. And obviously Robert as well. So big shout out to them too. Patrick as well from, I think it's Toronto, I think it was. So yeah. Anyway, apart from that, if you enjoyed the show, hit the like button, subscribe if you want to for more content, more QPR news, more football news as well. And we'll catch you. I don't know. Do you know what? We might be live still for the England game. I'm not too sure. If you want to see that, hit a comment below, let us know. I'm not too sure if I want to do it, but will be a lot of shorts going out this week, a lot of videos on QPR and everything else. So yeah, we'll catch you real soon. We'll see you live next Sunday, 7 p.m. We're going to keep it 7 p.m. if that's okay with you guys, and we'll go from there. Catch you guys in a bit. Peace, love, positivity, and stay cool and drink plenty of water because it's going to be hot this week. So yeah, catch you in a bit, people.